welcome you to the Initiative for Transformative Social Work video dialogue, which is called Historical and Ongoing Impact of Colonialism, PROMESA Law Video Dialogue. My name is Dr. Isabel Fukushima. I'm a professor here at the University of Utah with the School for Cultural and Social Transformation, as well as I'm a joint position with the College of Social Work. I'm also the director for the Initiative for Transformative Social Work, and I'm really proud and thrilled to be a part of this event that is organized by our experiential scholars, who I will tell you a little bit about them in just a minute. But the experiential scholars working with the Initiative for Transformative Social Work. And just a little bit about us. The Initiative for Transformative Social Work seeks to develop and nurture an inclusive and empowering community that pursues equity in the College of Social Work by promoting greater understanding, dismantling privilege, and diminishing power discrepancies. And so today is one of our seminal events, and this video dialogue, we're going to hear more about questions regarding and related to U.S.-Puerto Rico relations, as well as we're going to think about this policy, PROMESA, which is the Puerto Rico Oversight, Management, and Economic Stability Act. And we're going to think about what we can do as an audience, as people, wherever we're calling in from or participating in, what are the next steps as well and the possibilities. We are very privileged to have a very wonderful lineup of speakers who I will introduce in a few minutes. We have Federico de Jesus, Dr. Gisela Negron Velazquez, Nelson Denis, and Anu Robles. And so I just wanted to give some thanks before I introduce the format as well as introduce our speakers. I wanted to give thanks to Anu Robles, who is an ITSW Experiential Scholar and lead for this project, in collaboration with the ITSW Experiential Scholars, who include Sarah Anderson, Arti Gamir, and Hannah Wild. I also want to send a special thanks to Jen Nozawa, our communications guru of the College of Social Work, and a special thanks to the College of Social Work and the School for Culture and Social Transformation for promoting the event. And we will talk about how this video will also be shared post-event with additional supporting materials for those of you that want to continue to educate yourself and stay connected with these wonderful folks and the work that they're doing. Just really quickly, this event will be in English, and we will make sure that we are going to work on trying to get it translated, so then that way the content can also be shared with colleagues who are Spanish speaking. And we just want to make sure and remind ourselves, but it looks like we have a very on-point audience, but we just want to make sure that everyone mutes themselves. I just had to mute one person. Apologies there, Esther. But if everyone can make sure that you're muted, so then we don't have any background noise, and the only noise we hear are from our speakers. We will open it up at the end for question and dialogue with our speakers. But we're going to have rounds of questions in which I ask a question. I will inform who will answer the questions, so we can just kind of know who's going next. And this will also help Nelson Denis, who is calling in, since he can't actually see the cues of a nod of the head, so we need to actually verbalize some of the instructions. And so that's how it's going to work, just some questions with response, and then after that we'll open it up to the audience. There is a chat box. I encourage all of you to use it. If you have a question you want to send to us, go ahead and start sending it in advance. Maybe they might see the question, the speakers might see and see a way to wrap an answer into their response if it makes sense. Otherwise, we will defer those questions towards the end during the Q&A. So let me introduce our very prestigious speakers. First, we have Federico de Jesus, who is the founder and principal of FDJ Solutions, LLC. De Jesus, a Washington, D.C. based consultant, has worked for more than 15 years at the highest levels of government, communications and politics. De Jesus was a national communications director for Hispanic media in the Obama for America 2008 presidential campaign, where he helped to secure close to 70% of the Latino vote. He later performed the same role in the office of the president-elect. Subsequently, he served for 4 years as a political appointee in the U.S. Department of Transportation as Associate Director for Governmental Affairs, where he was able to successfully shepherd 4 White House appointees through the Senate confirmation process and represented the department on various intra-agency task forces. He successfully helped to create and market Compromiso Democrata con el Pueblo Latino, which was the joint House Senate Democratic agenda for Hispanic American families and was endorsed by the National Hispanic Leadership Agenda. He also worked for Congressman Elliot Engel and for former Puerto Rico resident commissioner in Congress Anibal Acevedo Vila. More recently, De Jesus served as Deputy Director of the Governor of Puerto Rico's D.C. office, where he helped to manage over 20 employees in D.C., New York, and Florida, representing the interests of Puerto Rico before Congress, federal agencies, state and local governments, as well as business and civil society actors. He has a master's degree in social enterprise from American University School of International Service and a bachelor in communications, legal institutions, economics, and government from American University School of Public Affairs. We have joining us as well Dr. Gisela Negron Velazquez, who is a full professor and the department chair of the undergraduate social work program at the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras campus. Dr. Negron Velazquez has a PhD in social work since 1994 from Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey, and has a bachelor and master's degree in social work from the University of Puerto Rico. She teaches social policy and research method courses at the undergraduate and graduate level. Her research interests, publications, and professional presentations include physical and mental health policy, issues related to the delivery and access to health services, quality of life, drug policy reform, policy practice in social work, and ideologies and professional preferences of undergraduate social work students at the local and Latin American context. She has a few books, three books here: Program Evaluation, that came out in 2012, Quality of Life and HIV/AIDS, which came out in 2013, and another book that came out, Planning and Implementation of Focus Groups, and a recent article called Attitudes Towards Poverty Among Exit Students of Undergraduate Social Work Programs in 8 Latin American countries, as well as many professional presentations. We have joining us over the phone, and so you will not see Mr. Nelson Denis, who I will, when it is Nelson speaking, I'll just flash this image just so you know who we're looking at. But Nelson Denis is the author of War Against All Puerto Ricans. The book is based on recently declassified FBI files, congressional testimony, oral histories, personal interviews, and eyewitness accounts. It covers the Puerto Rican nationalist party revolts of the 1950s, a series of coordinated armed protests for the independence of Puerto Rico, led by the president of Puerto Rican Nationalist Party, Don Pedro Albizu Campos. This book also documents how the U.S. Army arrested 3,000 Puerto Ricans, deployed thousands of troops, and bombarded 2 towns in order to stop the uprising. Amongst reviews of the book, which include what the New York Times wrote, quote, scathing insights into Washington's response to Campos' Nationalist Party and its violent revolution in 1950 that still has broad implications. His perspective of largely overlooked history could not be more timely, end quote. Mr. Denis was the editorial director of El Diario, the largest Spanish language newspaper in New York City, and has won the Best Editorial Writing Award from the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. A graduate of Harvard University and Yale Law School, Denis served as a New York State Assemblyman. Before and during his years as an Assemblyman, Denis conducted a neighborhood clinic that provided advocacy, advice, and free legal services to the residents of East Harlem. He has written for New York Times, New York Daily News, Newsday, The Nation, and Harvard Political Review. Denis also wrote and directed the feature film Vote for Me, which premiered in the Tribeca Film Festival. And last, we have Jean Anushka Robles, who also goes by Ani, was born in Puerto Rico and grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. Ani earned a bachelor's degree in social work and a minor in political science from the University of Utah in 2016 and is currently in our master's program. Ani will graduate in 2017, so congratulations. Ani is also the graduate research assistant working under Dr. Esther Tekel, whose research focuses on exploring how African refugee women talk about resiliency and how it facilitates and or limits their survival strategies in Salt Lake City. And Ani is a member of Voices of Diversity, was also an intern for Hinckley Institute of Politics at Ibarra Strategy Group in Washington, D.C. during the summer of 2015. During this internship, Ani was exposed to leading government and public affairs firm that specializes in advocacy services, intergovernmental affairs, and Latino outreach. And Ani has also presented works such as exhibits that teach artists, scholars, and residents youth art programs that build art skills and create social consciousness at the Europe Symposium and Undergraduate Research Symposium. Ani is also one of our experiential scholars. So I'm very pleased to have all of you here. I want to thank the audience for joining us. We also might have other folks calling in. And so we really thank all of you for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that when you have 1 minute, I will flash 1 minute, and then I will also say 1 minute. And then when you have to wrap up, I will say wrap up. And then it doesn't mean you need to stop mid-sentence, but I'm encouraging you to literally wrap up. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. The order in which I will ask, it will be Federico, Dr. Velazquez, Nelson, and then Ani. And so the first question, you each have 3 minutes. Describe the history and recent history of the relationship between the U.S. and Puerto Rico. If we can begin with Federico.